The year is 2022, and Razer now thinks that they can sell a $30 wireless dongle to add on to your mouse. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Chamber here, and today we will be reviewing the Razer Hyperpolling dongle. Now, for people who do not know, if you have a Razer mouse, so for example, I have two V2 Pros here. We're going to get into a little bit more of this in a little bit, but I have two Razer Viper V2 Pros right here. And what this dongle does is this allows it to go up to a 4,000 hertz polling rate. Now, with the stock dongle, it will only do 1,000 hertz. That's typical. So the standard dongle here comes in the box. This one is the one included, as you can see right here. So it comes with a little USB thing, and then the actual holder you put on your desk, so it's a little closer, a little less latency, less distance for the wireless to travel. But that's only 1,000 hertz. Now, there are a lot of high polling rate mice now out, such as the Razer Viper 8K. Let me actually grab mine. All right, so I have my Razer Viper 8K. This is actually my previous mouse before the V2 Pro. And honestly, just the one thing I hated was I don't have 8K hertz on it. Now, is the difference noticeable in gaming? I'm not going to say massively. It definitely does feel smoother. You do need a high-end PC to run these high polling rates, though. That's just one small issue with these polling rates. If you have a slower PC, you're not going to be able to run these refresh rates, and you might even stutter with these mice, which is definitely a problem. But back to the V2 Hyperpolling. Now, this is $30 when in stock. There are very limited quantities. I literally had to get someone to make me a bot to notify me every time that one came in stock. I was able to grab one, and I got one very quickly. Now I have two, just because I have two mice right now. No, these mice are not. This one is a modded one. This is not for me. Just so you guys know, I'm using this to test for this video. But mice that are currently working with this hyperpolling dongle, because not all mice work. For example, my Razer Orochi V2 does not work with it. They have to be certain compatible mice. These are on Razer's website. So let's say there's a new mouse that comes out. You can obviously see if it's compatible. But right now is the Razer Basilisk V3 Pro, the Death Adder V3 Pro, and the V2 Pro Viper, which is what we'll be using today. I'm not a fan of the other two mice. I feel like this is perfect for competitive gaming. I have a Viper Mini, Viper 8K, V2 Pro, and I have another V2 Pro here. So I am a fan of the Viper lineup. But now we're going to actually get into the how well does the hyperpolling work. So I'm going to move over to the gaming PC. So here we are now on the gaming PC, and I got Razer Synapse installed. Razer Synapse is a terrible software. I literally went onto separate OS just to get this installed, but here we are. So Razer Synapse, this should look the same for pretty much any mouse with this dongle. So, you know, typical if you want to reprogram mouse buttons, which I don't know why. Sensitivity, I like 1600. It's pretty much the lowest latency. The higher DPI is, the lower your latency is. But here's where we want to go. Polling rate. So you can start at 125, which this feels horrendous. Like you can like see, and it looks stuttery. 500 is significantly better. 1,000, this is the same thing that if I had the other dongle, the typical one like this would be 500, but you know, whatever. And then we have 2,000. So 2,000 is where it does feel slightly faster, and 4,000 a little bit more faster. A great way to text is if you move your mouse around, you can actually see the amount of cursor refreshes, and that's one way you can kind of just tell a difference. There'll be significantly more, and for me, it feels a little more fluid. While you're at it, open mouse window properties, pointer options, and just make sure that you uncheck enhance pointer precision. It's terrible. Next, we have calibration. You can kind of do whatever. This is the settings I like and the settings I would recommend it, and it feels fine. So I like these. Power, wireless savings. I like to set this to 1 just so that you do keep the battery for as long as you do. Because one thing, as the battery starts to drain, at one point, I do not know exactly the point, 4,000 hertz disables, and it switches to 2,000 automatically. Then 2,000 disables. And it goes to 1,000, and then that's when it'll be like, then it dies. So as battery drains, it will automatically switch the polling rate to a lower one. Now, another thing also, we can go to accessory. You can check the indicator LEDs. So I like to have mine. This isn't my mouse, so I'm on I like to do battery warning only. But it makes sense doing, battery status, when to charge it. I like battery warning just because that I don't like having it like lights always shining at me, so that's really nice. But now we're going to be testing the performance of the polling rate and to see how good it is. Before we get any farther, so I will be using 2 separate V2 Pros to test. Now, I have one here. This is the stock V2 Pro. The only thing that's changed is I have Corepad Airs on these. This is the modded V2 Pro. This has a 3D printed ultralight base on it that does bring the weight a little bit down. I want to see if this affects the transmission and makes it either easier to run 4,000 hertz or even harder. They both have separate dongles, but I want to see if this does make a difference because this is significantly lighter. It's light enough to where you feel it in games, where this one just feels a little more solid. So I'm going to reference modded versus stock. I just wanted you guys to know which one is which. Okay, to start off, we will be using the stock mouse. So we are going to go now to Razer Synapse. I'm going to close out of File Explorer just so there's nothing else. I am leaving Synapse open. I will be using Chrome just so you guys know. But polling rate, I'm going to start off at 1,000 here just to show you guys. So I'm using cps.check.com. Click to start, and now I'm just going to move the mouse around. And as you can see, that is very, very close to 1,000. Averaging around that 1,000 mark. Perfect. Now we're going to go to 2,000 here. Now 2,000. Let's reset here. Reset, start. And as you can see, we are hitting about 1,900. Let's move the mouse a little bit faster. Yep. As you can see, about 1,900. Yep. Perfect. So about 1,800, 1,900. This website isn't the best, but this is just the first one that I found that I trusted. But now we're going to go to 4,000. Now, if you click here, as you can see, it's kind of stuck around that 33, 34. You can get it definitely up there, and you max around that 4,000 mark, but it's definitely a little more jittery. And we can see here, looking at the left right here, you can kind of see it does jitter a lot. So what I would recommend right now is 2,000 hertz for, especially if a stock. But now let's switch to the modded one and to see how it performs. Okay, here we are on the modded one, starting at 1,000 polling rate. Let's click to start, and yeah, about what I expected. We're hitting pretty much average of 1,000, perfectly working, 0 issues, flawless. Let's go to 2,000 now, and we are getting about basically the exact same thing, maybe even a little bit higher on the averages, to be honest, which is very surprising. Now, this is variable. I'm moving it. I don't have like a machine or anything. It's just me moving the mouse around in circles. Now let's go to 4,000. And as you can see, if we move it really quickly, I think this is how I get it. Yep. As you can see, it is actually slightly slower. Now, the 2,000 hertz range, which is what I recommend you leaving these in, you get significantly longer battery life. Get an ultralight base, you get a little bit lighter wireless mouse. It will literally become the lightest wireless mouse, and it'll be so nice. But now let's conclude the video and give some final thoughts on the dongle. Should you buy this dongle? Yes, I actually really enjoy it. I think it's a great product. It's something that I enjoy using with my mouse. It's nice when gaming, just to kind of have the best of both worlds with the 8K and wireless coming together. 2,000 hertz is always honestly what you need. 1,000 hertz on a high refresh rate monitor kind of does get a little weird. And 4,000 is at the point where it still pulls too much power. It's not as efficient yet. Sometimes you might only get a couple of days of battery depending on how much gaming you're doing. I don't do much gaming, or I'm not spending a significant amount of time on the PC. It'll last about a week, but if it's standard amount of time, like a typical amount of time, or like a weekend, I might have to recharge it at the end of the weekend. So 2,000 hertz does fix that issue, and it makes it last significantly longer. I highly recommend this product if it's in stock. I'll link down below a V2 Pro if you guys want to pick it up, just because honestly, I highly recommend the mouse even without the 1000 hertz dongle. I just believe it's awesome. So if you have enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button down below, subscribe. Let me know what your mouse you're using and if you're using a high polling rate device. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.